Boruto is officially smoking on that code pack. Honestly, who hasn't? No surprise for real. A code pack in the hidden leaf, probably just old Reggie at this point. My grandpappy's grandpappy smoked it if I was from the hidden leaf. But in this video, we'll be going over Boruto's change from brat to badass and 2 blue vortex and theories on the future of the time skip from here. Let's get started. So usually I'd be more professional, but these motherfuckers gave us the most fancy, dressed up, drawn out explanation with a name like Uzuhi-NO and it's
planetary, bro,
for a glorified, nauseating vertigo effect that happens to be a Rasengan because both the planet and the Rasengan rotate. Like, bruh. But I have to give them props, cause man, they really bamboozled us with the stoner logic. Don't get me wrong, it's fitting, especially after my Uzuhi-NO video theorized it was a sealing jutsu. And I can't say I'm right, but I could say I'm not entirely wrong with it sealing away your goddamn equilibrium. So I'm a little salty, but still hoping for more. But at first, without knowing any of this, I'm going along, reading the new chapter, seeing Boruto explain how he's
using the planet's rotation and chakra to spin him,
essentially, and he's already halfway to killing him. And all I could think was, wait, so Code is forever dizzy. That's it. Like, don't get me wrong, Boruto had some cool one-liners, I guess. And also, don't get me wrong, that's OP to be infinitely dizzy. But wow, just honestly would have never expected a protagonist hack being lame like,
"Ha, I got you with the motion sickness, dog. Now you'll never walk in a straight line again. Got him."
Like, that sounds like a Green Goblin strat to me, and I don't think that's fair to Green Gobby, honestly. So before we get any farther, let me back up and give a quick breakdown of the chapter if you haven't had a chance to read it, or don't have time to read but want the bare bones of what happened, or just want to let me explain why the Uzuhi, pretty much the throw-up Rasengan, is just kind of a letdown. Going back to the end of chapter 2, where Boruto spent most of the chapter negotiating with Code and Konoha by telling him 2 things in a few different ways to save time. He basically says, first of all, you don't know what the 10 tails can do, and 2, bruh, you're dumb as hell, I can kill you. And cycles back and forth between Code is an idiot to lead me to the 10 tails, back to
"Code, you're a dumbass, I'm about to snuff you, little bro."
with a little more, you don't know what you're doing, huh, bruh? And everything in between in the mix of the 2. And that was the second half of chapter 2, with of course the flexing of the new Rasengan at the end with the theories out the ass on what it could possibly mean for Boruto's power. Now going into chapter 3. We finally get to see the Uzuhi-NO Rasengan as Boruto is finished with his talk no jutsu, that was mostly just threat no jutsu, and now runs up on Code and very quickly tells him he's already halfway through killing him in their brief exchange of throwing hands with each other without even outright using his new jutsu. But little did we know that the new jutsu was practically in full effect at this point, he just hadn't hit him directly yet. Again, I have to give them props though on making the Uzuhi-NO Rasengan the most diabolically creatively vague new technique that I've heard in a while, that when Boruto is explaining it to you, we don't realize till the end of the chapter after sitting there like that it is again the most glorified motion sickness, vertigo based, brain fluid clockwise spin having ass turned Rasengan. And really all I can do is slow clap, tip my hat, and compliment how hard they bamboozled the fuck out of me. As I said earlier, it's masterful how our expectations for the Uzuhi-NO Rasengan were launched into space, and now with the new chapter it was brought right back down to orbit, or planet, no pun intended. I'll show myself out.
Kill me, please. I want to die.
Moving on from the motion sickness Rasengan, we see a bit more from Kawaki and the gang as they show up, and at least in this point of the story, Kawaki doesn't seem like much of a threat to Boruto. Granted, they had to shit talk first, you know, standard catch-up stuff for rivals after 3 years. But Boruto was still really calm and collected, even stating how dying in Konoha wouldn't be that bad before almost politely asking Kawaki to not interfere. And even though that is actually a pretty random dark point in this story and kind of shows how dark Boruto's mind state is after the 3-year time skip and everything he sacrificed.
You know how much I sacrificed?
And I think that's a hint though that at this point in the story, Kawaki stands no chance against Boruto, and that there will be either an outside power boost for Kawaki later on through Ada or something else, or he'll develop a new technique like Boruto did. Hopefully something a bit different than Vertigo, so not everyone's just puking the whole time, or it's something to counter it without something lame like shrinking the planet, because I'll be honest, I wouldn't put anything past him at this point. Something where he uses the chakra rods like Ashiki used to negate it or lower its effects, since Code doesn't really scream antagonist to say the least. It's safe to say Kawaki will probably get a power boost, or Code may be replaced with an Otsutsuki we haven't seen yet, or maybe after all this time he'll get a power boost that actually lasts longer than a second before being surpassed. On a positive note, Boruto's character development is better than all 80 chapters of Boruto Part 1 combined, and I'm glad to see the more mature, no-nonsense Boruto that's had to sacrifice. After his very long brat phase that even Naruto at that age grew out of a bit before his time skip and realized the seriousness of his situation long before gaining a shit ton of power, unless you count Kurama, and granted, he did have the Akatsuki on his ass pretty early on, where Boruto has done the opposite, really only realizing the danger of the situation after he gained a lot of power through training and a lot of help through outside forces like Momoshiki. The newest chapter ends with the best reveal as we get confirmation Kashin Koji has returned and is infiltrating Code's hideout with the 10 tails in it, by using one of his surveillance toads that jumped off Boruto while he was using the Uzuhi-NO against Code, so, you know, giving him the infinite nausea, and keeping in contact with Boruto through another one of them as well. It was great to see them bring Kashin back early in the time skip, and will be interesting to see interactions between him and Boruto at the very least, and at the most see Kashin and Sasuke interacting not only for the sake of Boruto, but also their thoughts and plans between the Hidden Leaf situation with a sealed Naruto and an Ada and her past altering jutsu, since Sasuke, if still alive, would still be under its effect, but still trusting his daughter and mostly his gut after all the years have gone by, with supporting information hopefully from Kashin, who I still believe isn't affected by Ada's jutsu, like I mentioned in my Kashin Koji video, through either new Sage Mode powers or his body being made up of scientific ninja tools, giving him an extra resistance, or both, or even he just wasn't in the parameters of Ada's spell. But to wrap up this mixed review of the new chapter and the return of Kashin Koji, let me know your feelings about the new chapter and where you think it's heading in the comments below. I do think the time skip is still galaxies ahead of Part 1 Boruto, so don't get me wrong with all the negative critiques, but I'd be lying if the reveal of the Uzuhi-NO didn't remind me of failed expectations of Part 1. But I still have high hopes, and I'm holding on to the belief really that the Uzuhi-NO Rasengan still might have a hidden ability or two up its sleeve to keep us interested to see what else it could bring to the story. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it for the video. Pretty much just super hyped for Kashin Koji to be back, and we all know that must mean Boruto either has a Sage Mode up his sleeve or some other power boost here that we haven't quite seen, or maybe, like I said, the Uzuhi-NO Rasengan will actually have some sort of, I don't want to say flashiness to it, but something that's not just a stomach ache essentially. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. I've been Nimbus. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a like on the video. It really helps out and I would really appreciate it. And if you would really be willing to help me out, if you could just hit the subscribe button. I've been trying to do weekly videos and it would greatly help me out if you press the subscribe button. You can always unsubscribe later if that's your wish, and I would just honestly really enjoy to see you stick around for a little bit and give me a chance. So So like I've said, I've been Nimbus. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.